Hi everyone, good to be back with you. Hope you're having a wonderful week. But today I wanted to talk about some of the questions that we ask when we read the Bible. Thanks for submitting your questions. We got some good ones this week. Encourage you to do that. I love reading it, and I think others are blessed when you ask as well. But today I'm actually just kind of talking about some of the reflective questions that we ask ourselves as we come to the scriptures. Some questions I like to ask myself are, how does this passage challenge me? Or where am I convicted in my own living and thinking and being? Sometimes I ask myself, where does this passage give me hope or comfort? Or how does this story somehow point to Jesus? Even if we're in Genesis, Exodus, or Leviticus, long before Jesus came, how is this story preparing me to receive my Savior? There are a lot of questions we can ask, but one of my favorites lately has been, where have I seen this before? I love seeing and making the connections between the different biblical stories. And the more you see those connections, the more you really see that this is one big story, not just some random collection of random tales, right? But one complete story from start to finish. So I encourage you to ask yourself, where have I seen this before? I think seeing these connections, it makes the stories come alive. It shows us that God is predictable in many ways and reveals his character. And this week, I think, as we've been reading through Exodus, I started to notice a number of connections. First, that the story of Moses begins as this crazed, maniacal king named Pharaoh is going about killing all of the little Hebrew baby boys in order to keep his power. Well, doesn't that sound a lot like what we read with King Herod killing all the baby boys when Jesus was born? And of course, where does Jesus flee to but Egypt, of all places? I don't think any of this is a coincidence. I think of the story of Moses in chapter 2, where he is placed, he's placed into, let's see how my translation puts it here. He is placed into a basket, but actually the word basket in Hebrew is the same word for ark. Moses is placed into an ark covered in tar and pitch, and he's rescued there. God takes care of him out on the waters and brings about his salvation. Well, doesn't that sound a little bit like the story of Noah's ark, right? Also covered in tar and pitch, where God sent a family into the water to redeem them and rescue them. I think about in chapter 3, where Moses goes on top of a mountain, Mount Horeb, or Mount Sinai as it called, and he receives communion with God, right? This beautiful interaction with the Creator God who shows up in the burning bush. Well, a little bit later in Exodus, what Moses received on that mountain, all of the people of Israel receive. They'll stand at the foot of the mountain as God descends and interacts and communes with them. And of course, we see something similar taking place in what we read in the book of Matthew in the Transfiguration. Jesus going up the mountain, accompanied by Moses of all people and Elijah, once again, God communing with his people. So maybe you can ask yourself this week, where have I seen this before? This is the beautiful thing about reading through the Bible in the year. I think you're able to see so many of these things as you read through the Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs. It's a beautiful story. And again, I hope you begin to see it come alive. Well, thanks for reading, thanks for watching, and looking forward to hearing from you, your comments, your reflections, your connections, and your questions. Until next time, God bless you all.